Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a literally earth-shattering narrative, a highly authentic account right out of Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. We're looking at the story of three travelers who end up facing, well, absolutely insurmountable odds. This isn't just some historical recounting. It's a profound deep dive into human desperation and the downright miraculous power of pure intentions. We're going to break down exactly why sincerity, and literally only sincerity, saves these trapped men when every ounce of worldly hope is gone.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture a scenario where you are entirely, completely cut off from the rest of the world. No cell service, no passing traffic, literally zero way to signal for help. You're completely isolated, wrapped up in pitch darkness and total claustrophobia. When every single piece of tech, every bit of physical strength, and every worldly connection is just stripped away in an instant. What's left, right? What's the one thing you can actually rely on when absolutely no one can hear you calling for help? Keep that question right at the front of your mind as we walk through this incredible event.
Section 1. Trapped inside the cave. A true fight for survival. So, let's set the scene of this sudden, massive catastrophe. First off, we've got three righteous men just traveling together. Nothing unusual, right? But then out of nowhere, heavy rain strikes. We're talking a torrential, blinding downpour, the kind that forces you to instantly seek cover. So they do the totally logical thing. They duck into a nearby cave for shelter. But then, disaster. A massive, unimaginable rock rolls down the mountain and comes to a dead stop right at the opening. It completely blocks the entrance. Just imagine the horrific sound of that stone grinding into place, followed by instant pitch blackness. Human strength is suddenly entirely useless against the sheer unyielding weight of this boulder. They are, for all intents and purposes, buried alive.
Which brings us to the prerequisite of sincerity.
So the crucial point is, human effort has completely failed them here. Pushing against the rock, it accomplishes absolutely nothing. It's in this terrifying, desperate moment they realize their only weapon left is a sincere dua. Now, this is a supplication to Allah using the mention of one's absolute best deed. But there's a catch, and honestly, it's the most important part of this entire explainer. The deed must have been performed purely for his sake, without any expectation of worldly reward, praise, or a pat on the back. This specific definition of sincerity is the core focus of our analysis today, because in that dark cave, it is literally their only remaining tool for survival.
They realized that only Allah could save them. And guys, this is a massive shift. It's the pivot from sheer physical panic, scratching at the walls, pushing uselessly against a giant boulder, to total spiritual clarity. They accept their absolute helplessness and recognize where true power actually lies. To make this sincere dua, they have to search their pasts for moments of pure, untainted righteousness. So let's isolate and analyze the three specific deeds these men bring forward. Deed 1. Honoring parents. We begin with the first man's specific deed. He always honored his parents. Think about the heavy weight of that statement for a second. Honoring parents is often repetitive, it's quiet, and it happens behind closed doors where society doesn't exactly see it to applaud you. For this first traveler, his pure, hidden, and totally consistent dedication to his parents was his most sincere act. He didn't do it for an inheritance, or so people would call him a good son. He did it solely for the sake of Allah. And that quiet consistency is exactly what he calls upon in the darkness.
Deed 2. Resisting sin.
Now we're looking at a completely different type of narrative tension, resisting a major sin out of fear of Allah. Just imagine being in a situation where you have the absolute freedom and the perfect opportunity to commit a major sin. The temptation is right there staring you in the face. No one in the world would ever know. The only thing stopping you is that invisible, internal fear of Allah. Actually walking away from that temptation when every single human impulse is pulling you toward it constitutes a profound, incredibly rare level of sincerity. It's an action defined not by what he did, but by what he actively chose not to do, purely for his creator. Deed 3. Protecting wealth. Now, what's really interesting about this is the astonishing level of financial integrity from this final traveler. Just look at the progression of his honesty here. This third man didn't just hold on to a worker's uncollected wages in some dusty box somewhere. He protected the wages, sure, but then he actively invested and grew those wages into great wealth. And when that worker eventually came back, the man didn't just hand over the original tiny amount and pocket the massive profit. No way. He returned it all, entirely and honestly. The immense temptation of all that money was completely overridden by his pure sincerity and fear of accountability. Relief in the hardest moments. Okay, having laid out these three incredible deeds, we finally reach the physical climax inside that suffocating cave. Step 1. The first man makes his dua about his parents. The rock grinds and moves just a little bit, but they still can't get out. Step 2. The second man makes his dua about resisting sin. The rock moves further. The sliver of light gets wider, but they're still trapped. Step 3. The third man makes his dua about the protected wealth. And finally, the rock rolls away completely. The barrier is broken, the light floods in, and the three men walk out safely into the open air. 3 sincere deeds, 3 miraculous movements of a literally unmovable object.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core dynamic of our explainer today. On one side, you have worldly recognition. Actions done for public praise, for likes, for social status, they offer absolutely zero help when you're trapped in a cave. The rocks of this world do not care how popular you are. But on the flip side, you have sincere deeds. Deeds done quietly, purely, solely for Allah become a miraculous mechanism. They become the literal means of ultimate relief when every single other thing fails.
So this brings us to the ultimate lesson derived from these authentic narrations. Sincere deeds done only for Allah transcend the normal laws of cause and effect. They become your lifeline in the absolute hardest, most devastating moments of your life. The takeaway for all of us is super clear and profound. Always do good for the sake of Allah alone. Cultivate those hidden deeds that no one else knows about, because at the end of the day, those are the ones carrying the true weight. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If the rock trapped you today, if the world suddenly went completely dark and all your public achievements just vanished, what hidden, sincere deed would you call upon? Do you actually have one? It's a question that demands some deep reflection. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer on the virtue of sincerity. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and we'll see you next time.